mind is so fine.
It is fine. I will say
you
that
will find yourself like, wait a minute, how did I get back in the closet? What am I doing here?
What's good people? I'm OVO, and in case you didn't know, I'm the G in LGBTQ, and you're watching It's Just Not Adding Up. So get in here and act like you got some sense. We're about to create some space.
So I want to talk about college.
Okay.
I feel like college for queer people especially is this like opportunity at either like diving into the exploration of self or consciously not. And I want to dive into both during this conversation. So,
okay. All right.
I'm literally like, I don't even know where we're supposed to start with this conversation, to be honest. So like, what was, because you were comfortable gay younger, like in high school.
Yeah, I was a little fast. Anyway.
So what were those thoughts like going into college? Like, not necessarily like from summer before, but like, let's say like actually being in college, freshman year. What are we thinking?
Okay, so I think freshman year, I'm in college. I started exploring my style more. I think in high school, I was very like, yeah, I'm who I am, but it's kind of like, oh no, I want to dress to fit in.
Yeah.
I think in college, I was like, give me the tight jeans. I'm gonna rock them.
Right.
And I feel like that was like the beginning parts of freshman year. And I guess I also got excited to like date freely. Like I thought, like in my head at least.
Yeah.
When I got to college, like I was gonna meet somebody and we was gonna like be cool, like out in the open. It ain't happened like that, but that was the dream.
I thought when I got to college, it was like, who are we going to be? You know, because I feel like I spent my grade school years just being confused, like legit being confused. And I was like, okay, going into college, I feel still a little bit confused, but more like I know what I want to explore. Not whether or not I'm going to explore it, but I know what I want to explore. Like I want to act on this attraction to men. I want to do these things. But is it going to happen? Freshman year, I talk about this often, is like the whole like women liking you thing was like a disadvantage for me a little bit because it was like I'm thrusting in environments that like women like you, and so guys are cool with you based on women like you, so they get closer to the women who like you, and like now it becomes this like very rapport with like all the like the dudes
forcing you to something,
right? And I'm like, and I still was confused. Not say I won't say luckily, but I was still confused, which like allowed me to explore, I guess, still women and the things. But a lot of that was like it started the journey of like manipulation in a lot of ways.
Okay,
how do I accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish in college? Period. Which is to pledge.
So strategic moves.
Yeah. But the casualties along the way. And you pledged. So like what was that experience like being openly gay on campus? Like
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I feel like it wasn't something that was like a conversation. I think there's this thing about like being comfortable with self.
Yeah.
And people assume like, oh, because you're comfortable with yourself and you don't mind talking about it, it's gonna get talked about. And then like honestly, it wasn't talked about. Like from the time when I like expressed interest to going through interviews, being online, like crossing, like it was never a conversation. Did everybody know? Yeah. Was anybody gonna talk about it? No. And I feel like if I was a different kind of person, that could have easily forced me right back into like, okay, well, I guess I'll just assimilate into like where the girls at. And honestly, that's just not part of my reality. But I think that it forced me into this like, yo, like just because you're open about something doesn't mean everybody else is going to be open about it with you. And I think that's something that I've learned along the way. Like these days, me and my line brothers, we all talk very openly. But we're also 10 years in and we're like all adults.
Yeah.
At somewhere between 18 and 22 years old, I feel like even for them, I think they were very like, they were cool, but it's just like, how much do we talk about? How much do we not talk about? Like, and I think 18 to 22 is just tricky. Like, your brain's not even fully developed, right? Like, you think, oh, I'm an adult, but like, you don't really know a lot of stuff at that point. So you just kind of like just vibes.
So how was that navigation with like, you said dating earlier and kind of how much of a joke it was, but like, what is even like interactions look like where you being comfortable, but still the nature of people, especially during that age, especially black people during that age, especially black men during that age, especially black queer men during that age, like, you know, all the layers, like you probably weren't interacting with people who were also comfortable with self. So like, what did that look like? Do you think that like hindered you in any way? Did it help you in any way? Was it neutral environment? Like, what did that look like?
Definitely hindered. Because I think it's only like in the last like 2 years, maybe a year, that I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I cannot date anybody who's not comfortable with themselves. But I'm a very like private person, and so just thinking to myself, I think back to those times, I'm like, I never dated any guys that were like openly gay. Lies. My very first boyfriend was openly gay. But like literally after that, it was just very...
Yeah.
I thought that was okay. I was just like, okay, well, he's not comfortable, but I am, and like maybe we'll get there. And like, you know, everybody's level of comfort also looks different. Like there were guys who I dated who were like, oh, we can go out to eat and you just be my homeboy type thing.
Yeah.
And then there were guys who were like, don't act like you see me, like we don't know each other. And it's just like, I thought that was okay. I thought that was perfectly okay. I feel like even after college, like I'm just like, he's not there yet, but I am, and you know, we'll figure it out along the way. When we get there, we get there. But like, it's only now that I'm realizing, like, if I'm going to cultivate anything that can sustain itself long term, I need to like find somebody who's telling the truth, because you still care about people, right? Like, care has nothing to do with comfort level.
Where you are, right?
You know, it's just so. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely hindered me because I accepted a lot of things and thought it was okay long term.
You keep saying, I like, what? We all did. I remember being in the car rehearsing how we met with the dude I was talking to at the time. Like, literally. So listen, where were we? What were we doing? How long have we known each other? Like, literally having this, like, ironed out so we're on the same page. And in hindsight, how, like, goofy that is, but, like, how necessary it was for the time. And there's so many people, I think, when we're talking about, like, navigating college, especially navigating youth, in any way, it's like, either you're talking to guys who are outside of your age range, right? And that comes its own separate
shit story.
All the things. And then you're navigating college as it's like new adulthood, but it's barely adulthood, but kind of adulthood at the same time. And like less parameters, but still parameters. And like just all these different things.
Yeah.
So like what it like post, you pledged, you kind of found your footing on campus, you made some friends. Where are we now? Like mentally, what are we doing? What's going on?
Oh, goodness, because now I have to think about how much of the story I have to share in order for it to make sense. I was dating somebody, I want to say it wasn't my senior year. So, what, my junior year?
Yeah.
And it was cool. Like, till this day, like, we're still great friends. But he was not comfortable with himself. But he was, like, very, like, we could still go out places. We could still hang out. We just friends. Everybody knew we were friends. Everybody knew we were cool. But, like, nobody knew, like, this is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that, like, there was anything, like, to write home about, though. Like, we had a good time. Yeah. We had some good memories. I always say, like, I credit him as, like, the very first person who allowed me to just be me. Like, he was just, like, very, like, that ain't my thing. Like, you like to dance, you gonna dance at this talent show, you gonna do that. Like, that ain't really my thing, but I'll be there to support.
Yeah.
I'll be in the audience. Yeah. Like, not my thing, but I'll be in the audience. Cool.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know that I had ever had my needs met. It was great. It was comforting, but I wasn't, like, being cultivated anyway. Like,
Did you ever want to speed up someone else's process?
Like getting comfortable?
Right, like, so you can benefit from that or, like, be with them or the things?
No, I had to think about it, you know? But I do remember that guy that I was just talking about. I remember when, like, we had started, like, being a little bit more consistent. Like, I feel like we had hit this, like, 6-month mark. And then he started telling his parents, like, he would refer to me, like, oh, my friend Nana is coming over, like, that kind of thing. And I was like, I remember the first time I said, I was like, oh, like, your parents know who I am? He was like, you know, eventually they're going to know who you are. So, like, you know, I feel like if we just start with my friend, and then we can get to the next thing and get to the next thing. And I was like,
that's right.
Huh. At that age, I was, 19, 20. I was like, oh, yeah, like, this is it. We're going to be together forever because you're on a trajectory of getting there. And so I think a lot of times, if you can see where somebody was going, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to chill. We're getting there. Like, especially because for me, I know a lot of people's story don't look the way my story did. I was in the 11th grade sneaking out to go hang out with boys.
With the men's.
And I was doing it with my friends. Like, hey, friends, we finna go. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
I can imagine. But,
and so I realize like everybody's story doesn't rock like that. So like when you can see somebody else's journey like evolving, it's kind of like, okay, like let me stick it out. But that's not always healthy either, because
it's like also that journey for gay men in college sometimes outcast you from your peers. For me, it did that in a major way, you know, because my junior year I was Mr. Albany State, and come on, I was Mr. Albany State. Didn't get that, but I was that, and so I met another campus king. He didn't go to my college though, and I would drive to his state, and even now I'm still being like vague because I don't know where he is on his journey. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
so like
that's a big thing.
And so it's like I'm going to see him and blah blah. And during that time, it was like for me at least, I'm like, let me kind of be mindful of where he is on his journey, so I can make sure that none of us like outdoes the other. Like we need to be on the same page, because like if we're both entering this very private, very secretive, and I think there's a very distinct difference. Being very secretive, we need to make sure we're both being secretive. And with him, I think because he likes somebody, and you have a relationship with somebody, so he started to want to come out to his peers, his family, his friends, and of course, if you have a boyfriend during that time, you're gonna want to tell who you're with. And when I tell you, so I'm gonna tell a story. So I go see this kid. I go to see this kid, and mind you,
good.
So see. Bartender me. So I went to see him. He had those of you guys are not familiar with HBCU culture, like when you're on a Royal Court or whatever that is, like sometimes it's comprised of like your Mr. Senior, Mr. Sophomore, Mr. Freshman. Sometimes it's comprised of like your first and second attendance. And so for him, it was like his SGA was his thing. So like he was campus king and he was like an SGA president, vice president, and we all had a conference together. So I had met everybody.
Okay.
They've never spoken to me in life. His SGA president at the time, he was a gay man. I go to the campus to sneak to see. I sneak to the campus to see him. The guy is speaking to me, and mind you, has never spoken to me in life. He's like, "Oh, yo, what's up, man? You know, hi, good to see you." I'm like, "Likewise." And he's like, "Yo, still get my little tradie energy, like, yo, likewise."
Not trading. Okay.
So I go up to the dorm, and I'm like, "So and so spoke. Yo, has never spoken to me in life." But in my mind, it was like, "You told him." So now he knows I'm queer. I was pissed.
Okay.
But I didn't know how to be pissed, because on the one hand, and this is the interesting, again, that conundrum of being in the closet, where it's like, on the one hand, I respect you for wanting to be yourself, right? Like I think it's dope that you want to tell your peoples, but it involves me, and I'm not ready. So like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And I feel like that's a journey that goes beyond just that time in life, because I feel like even now, like when I meet guys, even in friendship, like when I meet guys and I'm like, oh, okay, like you're not comfortable, cool, like it ain't a problem, we can still be friends. But then I'm like, what do we do? Where do we hang out? Where are we going? Like, what do you enjoy doing? Oh, I like drinks. But it's like, where do you want to get drinks? Like, and then, it just kind of becomes this thing. And I think it's interesting because, like, even now, right, like sharing a story and then having to be mindful of somebody else's journey.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it just always makes me think, because I'm like, I was very hyper aware of that in college. But I don't know that, like, it's gone away completely.
And so would you advise someone, like say someone has friendships that are at different stages in the comfort zone as relates to queerness, what would you advise them to do?
Lord have mercy. I don't even sound a hypocrite over here, don't, because this is going on the internet. The people gonna be like, but your friend, like, I believe in letting people be people, right?
Okay.
I feel like I got to make my own decisions in how I was going to navigate my journey with my sexuality. And so I determined that for myself. But I have friends who are in their 30s still like just now coming out. And I'm just like, that's also fine. Because everybody's journey is different. Like I know for me, like part of the reason I was able to like navigate my comfort very early is like I didn't live with my parents in high school. I didn't, like those are things that will, like my mom is a very Christian woman, like very by the book. But I didn't have that in my ear all the time. So I was just kind of like, I'm out here on vibes. We gay. Like, so I don't know. I think that it's like, you have to let people be people, but also don't sacrifice your own needs in letting people be people. Because I think that's also a very easy thing to do. Like I've done it in so many ways where I'm just like, oh, this person is at this point, so I'm going to just chill. I'm going to just wait, but it's like, what do you need in order for this to be a successful friendship? What do you need in order for this to be a successful partnership, so on and so forth?
Yeah. I'm saying run. Run.
Not run.
Run.
Not run.
Run. I feel like there's casualties to war, and there's definitely some collateral damage on the way to during your trajectory. Run. I don't care.
But that's not.
I wish I would have ran. Run from them.
That's not fair.
Fair as wine, as frog hair. At this point, because I feel like it's already difficult enough to give yourself the room to be self in society as a person in general. Forget even queerness. Then as a queer Black man, that intersectionality, and then we're talking about you wanting to explore things. Even for myself, coming into my own as a comfortable gay man, there were still behavioral things that I internalized based on the friends I had that were suppressing self or not comfortable yet. Like, okay, you're going to tell people, but don't be one of them kind of, come on, bro, don't be. And it's like them kind of still wanting to, and then also them wanting to have you in a safe space to garner their safe spaces. Because a lot of gay men are more comfortable looking like allies than actually looking like gay men. And so, you can be gay enough to where I'm an ally for it, but not too gay where you're going to make me look gay too.
Yeah. Oh, my homeboy, he gay. Yeah,
he gay, but he cool. Yeah, that's I follow. But he, and it's like, but it's like, so in my mind, you can't. It's just so hard not to be mindful of them and then do all the work necessary to be your fullest self. And maybe you can take a little break from it, cool. But as for this house, run. I'm talking about
it makes me think about like my. Stop you. It makes me think about my most recent romantic situation.
Yeah.
And I think about where he is, and I'm just like, this ain't a thing no more. We cool, but it ain't a thing.
Yeah.
We don't hang out much anymore because he's also like, every time he's like, he wants to hang out, it means come over. It don't mean let's go get a drink. Yeah. And it's very like, I'm okay. But I also recognize where I've been a very big part of his journey. And like, I recognize that like he's learned a lot from me. Yeah. I remember when we first met and we were talking about something, I was like, oh, I'm going out to drink with coworkers. And he was like, and I said something, or I can't remember the story, but he was just like, your coworkers know about you? I was like, yeah, like it's not a secret.
Yeah.
And it would be months later when he would tell me like, yo, like that really like blew my mind that you like just tell people. I'm like,
oh, so you're saying you could be a light for them?
Yeah.
Run. So listen, here I am. I'm all for the be the light, be the change.
That's exactly what you're doing with your channel.
I get all that, but there's not a personal touch, right? Like I think for me, I just feel like to liberate you shouldn't cause for me to suppress me. And I feel like, and as long as it's not like yours doesn't, right? So if it doesn't, then cool. But I just know that fine line is so fine.
It is fine. I will say that.
You will find yourself like, wait a minute, how did I get back in the closet? What am I doing here?
To be fair, I feel like it's a finer line when it's romance involved.
I was going to say that. We add a little bedroom activity.
When romance is involved.
It might be a little different now.
Because I think like...
You know how your life is hustling.
But I think about like... when we were talking, me and him were like... I felt like there were moments where I'd be like, we in the house a lot.
Okay. But I thought there's also an added layer.
Okay.
In my interaction with in college, I was a lot younger. He started to, I think, wonder like, are you embarrassed of me? Are you like those kind of things get internalized because it's like
especially at that age too. Like,
so I'm like, I'm not comfortable, but we came into both not comfortable being seen by the public. But now you are a little bit more comfortable. But I'm still not there yet. You're like, well, why wouldn't you want to tell your friend about me? Why wouldn't you want to tell your parent, your mom? And so it becomes this really weird, not even weird. It becomes this very, like, again, fine line, which is why I'm going to stick with my whole run speech. But it's because I think it's just too fine for the risk. The risk of self in those moments, it's just so much to, again, carry. You're already carrying, I feel like, so much in those formative years. And our formative years, to me, is during that second adolescence space, where it's like...
What's considered the second adolescence?
I don't know if it's like an actual, like, time frame.
I don't know,
like,
but it sounds cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because like, they always make it... Not always, but there's this whole, like, we didn't have an actual, like, we didn't have a prom date and, first kiss, that kind of thing. And you should have them. So you have yours in your mid-20s, or you had yours got it. Do you think in college, and maybe you were the person who could have said this thing, but, like, what do you think people need to hear who are navigating sexuality in college, what do they need to hear? Okay, we're here with it. Okay, got it.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay. So much of you is going to change. So much of you is going to change. I think about who I was when I was in college, and I'm like, honestly, that person is gone. Like, he don't live here no more. But I wish somebody would have told me, like, focus on cultivating you for who you want to be post-college. Because, like,
Yeah.
it's similar to high school. Like, high school, everybody's like, oh, there's life after 12th grade, blah, blah, blah. Folks don't talk about life after undergrad. I wish college students were told, like, yo, focus on building who you are and who you're going to be long-term. Because even though that person still may change, at least you are learning yourself a lot sooner and not creating yourself for this particular space that you're in. And I feel like I did a lot of that. Like, as comfortable as I was with my sexuality, I was still very like,
Yeah.
I want to be that Morehouse man. Like, and sure, it cultivated some good leadership skills, blah, 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 blah. But like, I spent time after undergrad, like, damn, like, ain't no campus? What are we doing? Like, especially when it comes to sexuality, like, that's not going to be something that changes, you know? It's like, I wish people would be told, like, yo, like, who do you want to be? And also, define it for who you are. Like, I think a lot of times people think gay and they think there's a very specific archetype that follows, right? Like, and so that forces people to be like, nah, I mean, that's not me, so I guess I ain't gay. And I was like, no, you can be gay and still, it can look different for you. Like, what does your expression look like?
I think I would just add relax. Like, just chill. You know, I think college, people put out on college, right? Like, these next 4 years are going to define your life, and they're going to make sure, you know, whatever you do here is going to be that, or reinvent yourself, and like all these different things. And I think if you just kind of take day by day, semester by semester, class by class, party by party, club by club, you know, like whatever by whatever, I think you'll really find yourself like making space for you to do all the things you just said to do. But it's hard to do that in the midst of being frantic about having to do so many other things.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think all in all, for the young gay guys on campus, if you didn't learn anything else, run and protect yourself. But that's always protect yourself. And always protect yourself. And
some folks don't care about you.
Oh, facts. Protect yourself. And always, like physically, I mean, even in college sometimes when you're thinking about like sneaking off to places, your friends don't know where you're going. Like, you know, you meet people on apps, like all the kind of things. Like, I understand the name of the game, but just protect yourself. Make sure you are being smart, using your own discernment, figuring out the space and being smart. So, but run.
There's some stories I could have shared about that one.
Part two?
Yeah, because like I'm just like being safe was definitely something that I was not doing.
I was an afterthought for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like people think being safe like, and they automatically go condoms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like I was literally pulling up to people's homes anywhere and just like, and back then you couldn't share your location off your phone and stuff.
All the things.
Be safe. The world is a dangerous place. I feel like I look.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Keep creating space. Peace.